Well, hey guys, Jonathan with you once again. Thanks so much as always for stopping by to check out the daily video. Please make sure you've subscribed. Hit that big subscribe button for me and hit that notification bell. It would also be awesome if you posted something in the comments. Let me know what you think about today's content. Let me know if there's any topics that you'd really like me to cover as well in the time ahead. Also, in the description, down below the video here, there will be a bunch of links to my free book. You can go and grab free access to my book. You can find out how to book me to speak. And also there's always a link across to the podcast version, because in the podcast version, I go a bit longer and I go a bit deeper. So if you love podcasts, go and hit that podcast link and go check it out. Right, today we're going a little bit deeper into the content we covered yesterday. Yesterday, I looked at this awesome book that I'm really loving. It's called Endure. It's by Cameron Hane. Cam Haynes. We're going to talk a little bit more about this book today. I'm going to try and remember to leave a copy link in the description here, because I'd love you to get a copy. I think it's really worthwhile. He is the world's greatest living bow hunter. And I don't want you to read it to become a bow hunter unless that's your thing and that floats your boat. It's just an amazing story about somebody who came from absolute average town USA. He was kind of going nowhere in his life until this one fateful day where somebody invited him out to go bow hunting, changed his life. And so go back to yesterday's video if you haven't heard it, because a great story. He's an ultra-marathon runner. He's the world's best living bow hunter. Just an amazing all-around guy. Works a full-time job. Got kids, married, and still manages to just live right on the extreme end of amazing. But today, there was a quote that I read in his book early that had a big effect on me, because it's something that I speak about quite frequently in the content that I do. And it's the topic of how we allow our backgrounds, our childhoods, to determine our present and dictate our future. So long story short, because we do try to keep these daily videos a little shorter than the podcast version, my opinion for a considerable period of time has been that we have a lot of things happening in our culture. Two important ones are the victim mentality of our culture, that our culture valorizes, prioritizes a victim mentality, that you can get lots of free stuff, you can get lots of other people's stuff by claiming some form of victim status. That's at the macro level. You can also just claim victim status and not have to show up, not show up in your own life, not have to improve, not have to take responsibility for your own life. Because if you're a victim, then whatever's happened to you has been done to you by someone else. And I do not discount for a second that there have been all sorts of obvious historical injustices, and that many people, maybe even some of us watching this today, have been through real trauma or abuse, and we've really suffered. But at some point, and this is going to be the focus of today's message, if we stay in that identity indefinitely, then the likelihood that we will go on to live the life that we really want to live is somewhat limited. So it's this basic idea of victim mentality and then blame, right? That we tend to blame our pasts for our present, and then we tell ourselves a story that whatever happened means that our future's either going to look like our present does, or our future's going to look worse. So I'm going to read you this quote from page 19 today. It'll come up with the graphics so you can see it. But let's just jump in. He's got a good metaphor to start us off, and let me share it with you now. It's easy to use your childhood as a crutch instead of seeing it as a chisel. There are so many crutches people want to use to justify themselves. But for me, you have to eliminate every single one of them. Get rid of all of them. Then tell yourself it's up to you. What are you going to do now that you've let go of those crutches? I like it. I like that opening metaphor. The difference between seeing our pasts, our childhoods, our suffering, our trauma as a chisel as opposed to a crutch. If it's a crutch, it's something that you use to limp through life. Now, again, I'll be sensitive here. So, look, I guess I should say if any of this is triggering in any way, then I really encourage you to reach out to mental health professionals, of course, and encourage people to consider counselling if it's helpful. But you can see the metaphor here. He's saying that if we stay stuck in our stories, if we stay stuck in our past, if we never transcend them, they become a kind of crutch by which we we move through life, but we don't move through life freely, powerfully, with presence and confidence. We go through life on crutches. And what do crutches do? Crutches allow us to move while dealing with injury. Crutches serve a purpose. They serve a definite purpose within a certain time frame. But I don't think crutches are ever been designed to guide us through the rest of life. Whereas he uses the metaphor of a chisel. So instead of seeing our pasts, our suffering, our difficulties as a crutch, what if we saw them as a chisel? What does a chisel do? Like in the hands of a master, a chisel creates a masterpiece, doesn't it, right? Like either through marble or wood, that these experiences of pain can actually be shaping our character and making us stronger, more resilient, tougher, and also more compassionate and understanding of the suffering of others. And then he goes on to say that once you really get rid of the crutches, once you let go of your past, once you really say, no matter what happened to me, no matter what this person did, no matter what this person said, I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to move forward through life. I mean, many of you know my own background is full of trauma, abuse, bullying, all sorts of stuff. I'd say that on average, I would say that my past was probably a lot worse than most people. But I'd also say that there's people that have had it worse. And there's people that have had it a lot better. It's not a competition, right? It is what it is. We've all got our story. We've all got our pain. We've all got things that people did to us, said to us, withheld from us, forced upon us, all these different experiences that we have. But at some point, if we can let go of it, if we can accept the past and accept we would not have chosen it, but what if it really did shape us? What if it really did allow us to tell ourselves that we are survivors, that we are stronger, that we are capable of, being compassionate to other people's pain? It's just this. See, that the past doesn't change, does it? Right? Your experience doesn't change, but your story about it, your understanding of it does. So it's that basic concept of choosing a more empowering meaning. Because things happen, right? Things are going to happen. None of us watching this are going to get through the rest of life unscathed either. There's going to be more difficulty. There could be more loss. There could be more suffering in the years ahead. But there's something about remarkable people, about successful people, and I use that word successful in the broader sense, right? Successful in the sense of living a full life of contribution and growth and development and energy and passion and fullness. We do that by having a better and more empowering meaning about our past and letting go of our excuses. And I think that's his point. It's like, if you come up with an excuse, you could be right. For years, I've been saying this to audiences all over the world. I go, in the end, if you end up with a great story about your background and what happened to you and why it means this or why it means you're depressed or why you're probably right. You're justified. You're correct. But you still have to find a way through. You still have to leverage that past to move you into the future. So again, take this for what it is. I'm not saying being frivolous. I'm not saying deny your pain. I'm not saying avoid going through the past with a trusted person if that's helpful. But I am saying that eventually we have to decide whether our past is a crutch or whether it's a chisel. And for me, the older I get, it's a chisel. It's a chisel. Why? Because my past allows me to help people. It really does. It allows me to help people. It allows me to say to people, you can live through this, and this, and still make something of yourself, and still want to give to people, and still get up every day and try and do cool stuff. So it's a chisel. It shaped me. It almost crushed me for many years, but then it began to shape me. So I hope that's useful. I'll put a link here to the book in the notes, in the description. But I just want to encourage you, like I do every single day, no matter what you've lived through. If you're suffering and struggling with it right now, then begin this process today of asking yourself the question, what else could this mean? How else could I understand or communicate to myself my story, my background, and how could I tell myself a different story with a deeper meaning and a better meaning that moves me forward for the future? Okay, that's it for today. Tons of great episodes coming up. Please make sure you've subscribed. What did you think of this content? What did you think about what I said today? Jump into the comments and say, Jonathan, you are crazy. yeah, this is wrong, you're completely wrong, or say, Jonathan, best episode I've heard in a while, thank you so much, here's my experience. So please, put something in the comments, hit that notification bell, and go check out everything in the description, because you can get my book there for free. You can book me to come and speak. It's all there, so go do that. God bless you, everybody. Get out the chisel. Let go of the crutches. Let's get the chisel. My name's Jonathan Doyle. I'm going to have another message for you tomorrow.